Hello, ladies and gentlemen. DSP here, and welcome to another episode of Ask the King. This is my Q&A show where my stream stats leaderboard is completely skewed and falling off the top of the screen for some reason. Let me fix that. This is my Q&A show where every couple of months, I usually do the show and answer your questions, whether you submitted them on my forums on thekingofhate.com, whether you post them up on my Twitter right over here at TheyCallMeDSP, or however you may submit them. Sometimes we have a time for a segment where I answer your questions from the stream chat here live on stream, okay? The thing is, there's been so much going on in the realms of gaming and my streams. I haven't had a chance to do one of these shows since January. I know, that's been a long time coming that I would do another Ask the King, and I apologize to those of you who were looking forward to the show. And really, it hasn't happened. First, it was supposed to be late March, but in late March, if you remember, we had multiple new releases like Nioh 2 and Doom Eternal. Then in April, I got an ear infection. And because of the ear infection, I lost a whole day of streaming. And I was like, well, the one thing that could really realistically be bumped would be Ask the King. Since all the other gameplay that I was doing, I wanted to continue on and not fall behind on. All right. So here we are. It's actually early May. It's May 7th, 2020. And this is actually episode, I believe, 81 of Ask the King, which is pretty awesome, obviously, that this show has been long running. You know, we're actually getting up to almost 100 episodes, which is pretty crazy. Now, one thing that's a lot different, okay, a lot different from usual, we've got a crazy ongoing streak, as you can see, of me hitting my tips goal during every stream and putting on the vest in celebration. Now, the vest didn't even exist on the last episode of Ask the King. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about. But this is basically something that I started doing in late February. I was doing a retrospective event, and people saw me wearing this vest in a video, a vlog from like 10 years ago. And they were like, what is that vest? Do you still have it? And I went and found it in my closet, put it on, and ever since then, people were like, well, as a celebration, if we hit your tips goal, put on the vest for us. And I've now hit the tips goal 66 straight damn streams, which is crazy, okay? Pretty damn crazy that this has happened, all right? Now, the vest streak is continuing on the line today. This very stream, if we hit the tips goal, I'll put the vest on during Ask the King. But I don't know if it's going to happen, and quite frankly, some people were telling me that there was issues with tipping. So I went through this big thing, and hopefully tipping is working now. I hope, because it would really suck if tipping's not working. I'm not aware, and now we can't hit the tips goal because the tipping thing is broken. So I tried. I think it's working. One person sent a tip, as you can see already, during the stream. So we'll see what happens. But if you see me calling out tips and all of a sudden I put on a vest during Ask the King, that's why. It's something that's just been a running thing for over a month now, and I know that's never been a part of Ask the King before. Okay, guys? Now, in addition to this, there's been a lot of stuff going on recently regarding my personal life. And I've been talking about this on my streams recently, that legally I am bound. I cannot mention any specifics whatsoever in regards to my personal life, but I will, right before we get started with questions here on the stream, I will say a little statement, kind of a pre-prepared statement that I have about the whole situation. So at least people who are wondering and want to at least have an update, you'll have one. Okay? And we'll go from there. But primarily, that's not what this show is going to be about. It's about your questions that you submitted on my forums, that you submitted on my Twitter. And if we have time near the end of this stream, where I'll be answering questions from the stream chatters as well. A few apologies in advance. First of all, my allergies have been really bad this past month. My throat has been gunked up quite a lot. It's actually not that bad today, but I don't know how it's going to last talking for 3 straight hours here on the show. In addition, I have an ear infection. I had an ear infection in my right ear for a week. Finally, that was going away, and now I got a left ear infection that I'm putting medicine in every day. So my whole, my ears clogged up, my equilibrium's thrown off. It's really screwed up. But I'm doing my best to be here and be consistent and put out streams for you guys regardless. So if any of that affects the stream in advance, I apologize for all of that. Okay, guys? A couple quick shout-outs before we jump right into the questions. All right, first of all, Uchiha Madara 1080 resubscribed for 3 months. And he says, DSP right, which is the emote. Okay? So thank you, Uchiha Madara, for the ongoing support. I appreciate that. 3 months. Gerg Derpson did a 100-bit cheer and called me an absolute legend. Well, thank you, Gerg. I appreciate the cheer before we get started here. All right? Okay. Now, we're about to get started with questions. But before I answer a single question, as I told you guys, I want to make a public statement about stuff going on in my personal life, but I can't be specific. Just warning you guys, I can't give you any dirt or anything like that, all right? Sadly, my personal life has been splattered all over the internet for the last 4 months, and there was absolutely nothing I could do about that with this whole process that I was involved in. I knew there was going to be things that were public or made public that there was no control over, all right? And so I tried to kind of nip this whole thing in the butt way back in January. I told you guys ahead of time what was going on, and I gave you details about it and everything. And at that time, some people were like, oh, okay, and some people just kind of downplayed it. But then when the actual information that I forewarned all of you was going to hit the internet hit, all of a sudden it was like every drama queen on the internet latched onto this story and just ran with it for months and months and months. And they fabricated the most ridiculous, preposterous, insane, concocted theories, conspiracy theories, and insane slander and negativity towards me that they possibly could in order to basically make it like a 4-month, 3-ring circus of, wow, Phil's life sucks, Phil's going down, Phil's doing this, Phil's doing that, doing all these ridiculous, immoral, illegal things and blah, 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 blah. And none of that actually happened. Like, the truth of the matter is that the past 4 months, I just kind of sat back and watched the insanity happen on the internet. The absolute insanity of this stuff going on. And I mean, literally every day there's something new, some new bullshit, some new spin, negative, toxic thing that people are saying just because I'm in this personal situation that this is the only real way I can handle it and move forward with my life. All right. Like I said, legally, I'm not allowed to talk specifics at all, which is why I'm being very, very general with what I'm saying here. I hope you guys understand that, but I'm sure a lot of you already know what I'm talking about. Okay. So I just kind of sat back and I was like, what can I do? I'm just going to let it roll, right? And people took that as because I was sitting back and not saying anything about some of the absolute insane things that were going on and the conspiracy theories on the internet about me or whatever, that was, oh, well, what do they say? Silence means consent or something like that. So because I'm not addressing it, that obviously means that it's all true, right? In reality, it couldn't be further from the truth. It was that I was in the middle of a legal proceeding where the more that I said, the worse it would get for me. So I just let people say the nonsense they wanted to say on the internet, and I just continued every day to put out my fun and positive gameplay streams, all right? In the last couple of days, even more stuff has come to light publicly to the point where people are now shocked because people have made so much bullshit up, so much slander. People basically, content creators, we're not just talking, my haters, actual content creators on YouTube picked up the story of my personal life over the last 4 months and took complete misinformation or speculation or lack of any facts whatsoever. And since I wasn't talking publicly about it, said, oh, well, everything we're saying must be true then, all the shit we made up, and took it that basically my life was going to fall apart. All right, that because I was in this proceeding, my entire life was going to completely fall apart. This was the end of everything for Phil and doom and gloom. He's on borrowed time and blah, blah, blah. And then in the last couple of days, basically the complete polar opposite has happened. All right, things have come out now publicly and people are like, oh my God, how could this be? The sky is falling. I can't believe this because we've been talking about this for 4 months. This was the end of Phil. And now Phil really must be immortal. Phil must be that guy that's going to be around forever because no matter what comes his way, no matter what happens to him, he survives. He survived the incident 4 years ago. He survived constant slander and controversy. He survived everyone trying to eliminate him from the internet. And now he survived this legal thing. So obviously, it's like a meme now that no matter what, okay, no matter what, I'm going to survive, right? Whatever. For me, this whole thing, I never wanted to make public. I never would have told you guys a single piece of information about it if I didn't know that there were parts of it that automatically become public. Truth of the matter is, this whole process I've been through is something that many, many, many people go through over the years, but because I'm a public figure, people were all over it. Most people go through this and no one ever knows about it. It's something that's very private and behind the scenes, but because I'm a public figure and I have so many fucking shithead haters on the internet, they ate up every piece of information. They fabricated nonsense, all right? It's complete bullshit. Now, the one conclusionary statement I have to say, again, very general, can't give you any specifics. The one conclusionary statement I have to say about all of this is very simple. All right? If even a single piece of the things that people have been saying about me for the past 4 months were true, this outcome would not have happened. All right? The truth of the matter is, I knew the truth of the situation. I knew what was going on with my own personal stuff behind the scenes, and I stayed silent. I just basically said I'm not going to really talk too much about it because I'm just going to have faith that the truth of the matter will come out to the right parties. The right parties being my lawyer and the parties we had to work with for this legal process, period. Those are the people that mattered. It didn't matter what idiots on the internet fabricated or said about me. Although admittedly, because of so much internet slander, my process was completely held up for months and months and months. All right, directly as a result of people doing stupid shit and making stuff up about me and everything. Basically, my situation was gone over with a fine-tooth comb. To the point where I had to provide so much additional information that probably most people would never have to do, and had to do further disclosures and the like in order to get stuff to actually go through properly. But the truth of the matter is, everything people said about me was bullshit. I provided the factual evidence of everything that I've ever said about myself to the correct parties. When provided with that evidence, they said, okay, wow, this is the truth of the matter, makes sense. Sucks that now you have this much slander all over the internet for you or whatever. And that was that. All right. And, you know, there's so many idiots who have made stuff up about me now for months and months, and their jaws have dropped. Oh my God, I can't believe this was the outcome. Well, you didn't have any facts. You literally stared at a sheet of information that was none of your business, with no context to any of that generalized information, no substantiation because you didn't have the information, so you don't know any of that. I'm not required to talk about it publicly, and I'm not going to, because any information that I give you guys publicly will be spun against me in a negative way, period. Like, I know that now. That's why I've cut back so much on sharing things in my personal life with you guys, because the parts of this that went public. This process took way too long, and it should have been done like this, and instead took forever because of the interference of a bunch of malicious individuals. So, with the information that was half information, people making all these speculations, you didn't have the full information. Of course, you couldn't actually know what was going to happen in this situation. So every single piece of content that was made in the last 4 months in regards to this was bullshit, lies, and fluff. It was stuff to make people like drama and to make money for these idiots who knew they had no substantiation for anything they were saying, right? But they did it anyway to make money. And that's the truth of the matter. Anyone who put their foot in the door of my business, which was none of their fucking business, and they knew they didn't have true information, did it to make money, to be a shill, to fuck over people, at my expense, by the way, because they knew what they were doing was slanderous and defamatory towards me. They didn't care. They just decided to do it to make a buck. So now, 4 months later, everyone's jaw drops and everyone's so shocked and surprised. Well, it's because you didn't have the information. You're idiots. You literally made shit up for 4 months in order to push your own toxic agendas on the internet to make money, while I, behind the scenes, was handling it incredibly professionally, wasn't exposing any information that I shouldn't that could hurt me, and I gave the correct and proper and truthful information to the parties that needed it, and now we are where we are. Okay? So, you know, I'm sorry to my fans who have to go through. I know a lot of my fans were really inundated with toxic shit over the last 4 months, and I didn't want any of you to ever become involved in that stuff, but it's kind of hard to avoid when you got idiots spamming this fucking stream every single day with it. There's a million videos about it on YouTube, these fucking money-grubbing drama hound pieces of shit who want to drag me through the mud with nonsense and incorrect speculation, not information that's factual, but bullshit speculation to make a buck, even though they don't care that it's going to hurt me behind the scenes. Fuck all of them. That's what always been my philosophy, and I'm gonna keep pushing forward positively. That's all I can do. That's all I want to do. I don't want to waste time on my streams and on Ask the King addressing this stupid shit, because it was none of anyone's business to begin with, but they made it their business because they wanted to make money off of me, and now they all look fucking insanely stupid because they didn't have any information to talk about anyway. They were literally pulling shit out of their assholes constantly. Even people who claim that they're reputable were doing insults and doing insulting thumbnails and fucking clickbait titles and every possible thing to make extra money during this time frame, because they saw my personal life as a cash cow of drama for them. Fuck those negative, disgusting, toxic people. I don't do that. I don't make that kind of content, and I never will. I'm a positive guy. I focus on positivity. I tell you guys every day on my streams, I'm not a person who revels in hurting others to get over. I will put out positive, fun gameplay content for you guys, and I will continue to be successful that way. And if I fail, I fail, but at least at the end of the day, I can say, hey, at least I put out positive content that people appreciated versus, oh, for 4 months, I literally talked out of my ass to make fun of Phil and make him look like a horrible villain so I could make money doing it. And then after 4 months, the whole thing falls flat on its face because you were all wrong anyway, because you all made up shit, right? So, this is going to basically be the last time that I'm going to bring this shit up. There's absolutely no reason for me to continue to bring it up. It's over with now, and and even though I'm sure this isn't the end. These people who want to be in my life and with toxic shit constantly, this is not the end for them. They're going to still attempt to continue the harassment, to continue the information. In particular, all right, I'm going to say one thing. There was one content creator who swears he's an expert on subjects like this, and he made videos for months about it. I watched a few of the videos. No exaggeration. At least half the time this guy spoke, he was legally wrong about what he was saying. Yet he produces himself as an expert on the internet about this shit. And it's like, if the guy who's supposed to be an expert is wrong 50% of the time, can you imagine, all the other shit the other shitheads are saying? That's 100% wrong, you see? But I'm just not going to waste time on it anymore. These people will not let it go. They're going to continue to harp on it. They're going to continue to pull at any little string or straw left because they realize now the drama's over. But they're still going to try it. They're still going to try it. All right? And there's nothing I can do about it. I don't have money to sue these people for defamation. So they will continue to make these negative, toxic videos about me and things that are completely untrue for months on end. And there's nothing I can do about it. All right? They're going to say this isn't over. They're going to try to... It's over for me. I'm not talking about it ever again. Don't ask me about it on my streams. Don't, personally, understand. You're not going to get another piece of information out of me about this because it's done with. This is the last piece of kind of public info that was kind of, I guess, disclosed or whatever over the past day. I'm done with it now. I move on positively with my life, okay? They will harp on the toxicity forever because that's what they do. They need that toxic content to keep existing. I don't. I can just keep doing what I do every day, all right? So I even apologize up front. I hadn't even talked about it on Ask the King. I didn't want to, but I'm talking insane generalities, gave you no specific info whatsoever. But in a nutshell, they were completely wrong. They made shit up for 4 months. I was truthful, but I withheld the truthful information for the parties that needed it because I was afraid if I did put that information on the internet, people would just use more of it against me and spin it in a more toxic way. I was right. And now, because I handled it professionally, we can move on in a very positive way, and I'm not going to talk about it anymore. All right? So I just feel like I got to get this off my chest, and I apologize, guys, but I have to do this. Fuck you to all the shitheads out there who basically make a living defaming me every day with no or half information, speculation, controversial drama. Go fuck yourselves. This is where it was going to happen at the end anyway. And you made my life a living hell for 4 months, basically. And now that's all over with. And I can go back to just being myself and relaxing a bit and having fun with games and not having to worry every night about what's going to happen in my future because shitheads are defaming me every day on the internet. I'm just done with it. Like, I'm finally get like a breath of relief today. And I'm like, yes, finally I can just move on positively. And that's where I am. I don't care what any of the rest of these idiots say. They're fucking wrong. Period. All right. Done. Now, some shout-outs. Let's see here. Oh, Crowdcock did a 150-bit cheer and said, I love the hat, Phil. Don't let trolls get you down. Thank God I didn't. Because like I said, there were many times during this process that people were legitimately, the things they were doing were fucking me over, and just making things be more dramatic, more drawn out, more stressful for me. But I persevered. I held in there and I persevered. So, Go Gadget Vest hit me $4.20 and says, I have great respect for how you've handled a difficult situation with dignity. Well, thank you, Go Gadget Vest. I appreciate that. It wasn't easy, It wasn't. Every day I wanted to come out on a stream and defend myself and reveal more personal info, basically in order to, clear my name of all the insane shit people were saying about me every day. But I knew I was taking the advice, and I was like, I knew if I did that, it was just going to hurt me further, and there was no point in doing it. Give it to the right people, give the right information to the right people, and keep it out of the hands of the shitheads who were just going to fucking do really malicious stuff with the info, and it worked. Thank God. Servant of Eve did a 100-bit cheer. And he says, I wish you a great blah, 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 my immortal lord. Thanks. Ratco cheered. He said, I love it when you get passionate. It's okay to cry on stream if you need to. In this case, I'm not crying. And if I cried, it would be tears of joy at this point. Seriously. After all the stress I've been through. So. Let's see here. Cold Zero cheered. He said, let it all out. Let the John Deere tractors give them the finger if you want. And then I did. Haha. Basketball American tipped me $1 saying that edibles are hitting him and he's high as fuck. Well, gee, thanks for the $1 tip, Basketball American. All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, that's nonsense, drama, and bullshit is out of the way, we can finally get to answering your questions. All right? Finally, we can get to answering your questions and have some fun. Fair enough? All right. Let's get to it. The first question of Ask the King, episode 81, is from Shaquille Oatmeal. And he asked the following. What is the special it factor that most Ubisoft open world games seem to be missing that would make them huge Game of the Year contenders similar to other open world games like Witcher 3 or Breath of the Wild and Red Dead Redemption 2? I find all the Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Far Cry, etc. games are competently made. They have some fun stuff in them, but I never get that, oh yeah, this is the best Game of the Year feel from them. I would say, honestly, it's quality over quantity. When you talk about those games you just mentioned, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, let's say Odyssey, because that was the last one, and Watch Dogs, all those games have a ton of side content in them. A ton of side content in them. A ridiculous big chunk of side content in them. All right? But that being said, how much of that side content is actually good? How much of it is meaningful? And I'll give you an example here. Witcher 3. Yes, there was... excuse me. There were some busy work missions in Witcher 3, but honestly, few and far between. Like most quest lines in Witcher 3 felt like they were mini stories. They were actually like big, meaningful quest lines that developed side characters, or you would fight a boss at the end that was really neat, or some of them were mystery. That was the other thing, variety. It's not just the same kind of side content over and over, but variety. Witcher 3 had stories that followed characters, stories that had unique monsters and bosses and situations, stories that were mysteries. Oh, murder mystery, what happened here, and stuff like that. So, compare that to Far Cry. 85% of the side content in Far Cry is hunting, gathering, or taking over an outpost. And that's it. That's like all of the side content of Far Cry. It's not riveting stuff. It's not exciting stuff. It's boring, quite frankly. You might like it for the first few hours of the game, but once you've done it ad nauseum, you're tired of it, right? Assassin's Creed Odyssey absolutely had a bunch of side content that was meaningful, but also it had this requirement where you had to literally grind repetitively to level up enough to get back to the meaningful story. So you had to do boring, kill generic, this guy or that guy missions, kill the stupid Centurion guys or whatever they were called who were after you missions. And it padded the game so intensely that you really felt half the time you were playing the game it was busy work and boring, and it made the overall experience feel more liquidated almost. Like watered down. It felt like a watered down gaming experience. What's funny about this is that if you look at certain games, all right, if you look at certain games like, for example, The Darkness 2 or Mafia 2, these are games that I've played in the last decade that when I played them, they were very short gameplay experience. Darkness 2 was like 6 hours long, and Mafia 2 is maybe like 8 to 10 hours long. But those are experiences that, like, it's constant fun story development with an interesting story with characters that hook you. And by the end of that game, even though they were short, you're like, that was a pretty good time, and I'm glad that I played that game. I feel like it was a really meaningful experience, right? Now, compare that to Mafia 3, where they took an 8 to 10 hour interesting gameplay experience and they crammed in 20 hours of garbage side content that was required to do to finish the game. And honestly, I like Mafia 2 way better than Mafia 3 because Mafia 3 had so much busy work and boredom. So, that's really the thing here when it comes to these games from Ubisoft, right? They cram in so much repetitive side content that's not meaningful that by the end of the game you feel like you wasted way too much time to beat it versus other games that maybe have more meaningful side content. And the thing is, Witcher 3 was no short game. Witcher 3 was insanely long, but had mostly meaningful side content. And that's the difference. Ubisoft, the kings of quantity, but not the kings of quality. They need to start tipping the scale the other way, I feel, with their major releases. Okay? Let's see here. Dark Lotus 1998 tipped me $5, which became the top tip of the day. He says, Phil, hey Phil, all morning I've been watching DSP Tries It. I wish you would do those again. You're good at reviewing food the way that you do. In reality, that question about DSP Tries It is in the show, and I'll be talking a little bit about DSP Tries It later in this very show. Okay? So, FYI, I'm not going to really address DSP Tries It right now because I'm going to directly address it later on. Okay? But I'm glad to hear that you still like the show, and it is all still publicly available there on my vlogging channels for you guys to watch. Basketball American tipped me $1. Said, did you ever do heroin? No, I never did any drugs besides pot. So there you go. And I don't do any drugs anymore. The Aged Giraffe did a 50-bit cheer. Says, it's fucking Treyway. I don't know what that means, but thanks for the cheer. Froggins did a 420-bit cheer. He said, I'm glad to hear the good news. Hopefully a weight has been lifted from your shoulders. You know, it has. My past few years of my life have been incredibly stressful. Because of things going on behind the scenes that I don't like to talk about publicly with you guys because it has nothing to do with my streaming at all, really. It's private matters. And there's been a lot of nights where it's like, I don't even know what's going to happen. I told you guys many times I was afraid that I was going to end up losing my home. I didn't know what was going to happen. And by the way, I should say this. I'm not 100% out of the woods. You know, my life's going to be very rough for years where I'm going to basically have to try to build stuff back. Stuff that's been destroyed personally for me behind the scenes. I'm going to have to try to build this stuff back up. It's going to be hard. I'm behind on stuff right now. Like I told you guys, taxes. I'm behind on taxes that I need to catch up on. And it's going to be rough doing that. But I'm going to do my best to get back to a position over a course of years here where I feel that now I'm back on stable legs. I've been off those stable legs for about 5 years. It was really about 5 years ago. I keep telling you guys, it was 5 years ago when my YouTube channels had those false copyright strikes and my income went boo. That was pretty much the beginning of the end for me, where all my debt racked massively up and everything got fucked up for me. I've told you this, guys, publicly over the years, over and over. So for 5 years, I've constantly struggled with this, and now finally I'm in a position where I feel like I can now begin afresh, anew. I need to get back on stable legs and start fresh. I'm going to work to do that. It's not going to be easy, but I'm going to work to do that. But the good news is, you know, you guys aren't going to have to hear about it. Okay. The Evil Green Ranger cheered. He says, I admire what you went through. Don't worry about that people exist out there. Oh, that bad people exist out there, because there are good people, and I support your content. Keep it up. Thank you. And Gonzo Stock also did a 100-bit cheer. Thank you for that. Okay, let's continue on. Mora Moria asks the following. You said you've admitted to things that were either partially or completely your fault. My question is, what's the most important thing throughout your life you admit completely 100% of responsibility from your part? For me, I admit that in the past, when I was younger, I was immature, and I did stupid shit that I regret. When I was part of the Street Fighter community, I was a troll. I harassed people online for stupid reasons. I really got on people's nerves to the point where there were people who wanted to beat me up in person when we went to a fighting game tournament, which obviously is a massive violation of the rules, would get people permanently banned, maybe even going to jail if that ever happened. Thank God it never happened. Thank God there was never anyone actually throwing down because of the stupid shit that I said and did. And I've talked about this publicly in the past. There was this one particular guy named Shady K who I was a 100% an asshole to, and he didn't deserve the stuff that I did to him and said about him. And I don't know why in my youth I latched onto this one guy and I really just like talked shit constantly and made his life fucking miserable. I don't know. And I regret it. Like, I look back now and I'm like, dude, I was such a fucking asshole back then, you know? And then later on in my Street Fighter career, I tried to make up for that by becoming a tournament organizer and running tournaments, you know, that basically were money out of my pocket to run them. I had to upfront put a lot of the investment of money and everything to keep the community alive before Street Fighter 4 came out and reinvigorated the community. On the East Coast, I was one of the guys that was keeping it alive for 2-3 years there when it was dying out, because there were no new games from Capcom for a very long time. And I basically tried to kind of give back to the community in that way, because I felt really bad after a big career being a dickhead. Okay? And I could say it's the same thing for YouTube. When I started on YouTube, I didn't realize that the things that I said and the things that I did actually had such a big impact on so many people, and that me talking shit about a game like Minecraft or talking shit about some indie game that I'd never heard of could concretely change people's minds about stuff, could concretely hurt games and game development studios. Like, not to say that Minecraft is ever hurt by anything I said, because that game was a fucking insanely popular game, but I just said really ignorant statements. I didn't realize that I had power on the internet with the following that I had. Over the years of me having that following, I got a lot more mature, a lot more wise, and I realized that, yes, I did have power, and I needed to be more responsible. I know the Spider-Man line is very cliche. With great power comes great responsibility, the Uncle Ben line, right? But goddamned is that line true. That when you have power, you need to realize that what you say and do can either positively or negatively affect things for thousands of people across the world on a daily basis. And I've learned that. But there's sadly a lot of content creators out there who have not. And they, like I just mentioned, the people for 4 months literally speculating and making shit up with no factual evidence of anything about me hurt me concretely for a long time, until finally I was able to prove the truth of the matter, and everything kind of works out. But they don't realize that. They think, oh, it's all fair game because someone's a public figure. We just make fun of people constantly and do it or whatever, and it's fine, right? It's not. You have a following. The things you say and do hurt people concretely, and you have to understand that. If you have the power to help or the power to hurt, why wouldn't you choose to help? We're in a worldwide pandemic right now. Everyone's lives are fucked up. Why wouldn't you choose to be a positive force in people's lives and help them? Why would you choose to hurt? For me, I don't know. I would never choose to hurt, but these people choose to hurt. So I can't speak to them, but I admit, I used to be like that, right? I used to be like that. And now I'm different. I've grown older. I've grown wiser. I'm way more mature, and I don't act like that anymore, and thank God. But I admit, when I started in the Street Fighter community, I was 100% an asshole, and I basically trolled and hurt a bunch of people just for the sake of doing it. And when I started in the YouTube community, I was just irresponsible and said and did things that were very harmful, and I'm stupid for it, and I apologize for it. Okay, then. Last Rambo cheered us. If you were born in Washington instead of Connecticut, would you be in the same position you're in now? I have no idea, and I don't entertain these what-if scenarios because my life is so chaotic and crazy. I have no actual clue about any of it, how any of it went down. Okay, I just have no idea. Joshua Connor Moon tipped me $1.33. Says, cheering for you, King. Thank you for the $1 tip. Infinite gifted a sub to Dacky Smurf. Congratulations, Dacky Smurf. Let me update this leaderboard now while I'm thinking about it before we get to the next question. Egg Gangster cheered. He says, would you have won? And then it cut off. And then he cheered. He says, would you have won the fight against Vasant? I don't know, and I don't care, because that's another thing. Like in the early to mid 2000s, I would start these rivalries, and I wasn't serious about them, but I would get people so angry that they would actually want to fight me. So Vasant was someone who I basically had this rivalry with for a long time, to the point where I was like, I'm gonna beat him up or whatever. And of course I wasn't serious or nothing, but he was dead serious that he wanted to fight me. And then eventually we actually became way more cool. At one point I stayed at his place. We went out to California during Evo West, and I actually stayed at his place with a bunch of other Street Fighter players. We squashed that shit years and years ago, It was so stupid. It was just really dumb shit. So that's what I mean. I was so immature when I was younger. It was really stupid. Coolito tipped me $1 asking if I sold my soul. Yes, obviously I did. Obviously, if you're an idiot and you think that all the insane slander and defamation and all the shit that people made up for 4 months about me was true, you probably think I sold my soul in order to get a positive outcome. But the truth of the matter is, all those people were wrong. Okay? Crabcock did a 500-bit cheer. He says, seriously, congratulations. I know how stressful all this can be. I'm in a good place now, but it was rough for a while for me, and it makes you lose sleep. Absolutely, Again, for the longest time, for years here, I didn't know what the hell was going to happen with my life. And I was insanely fucking nervous about my future, And again, I want to say thank you to you guys, the viewers, because you guys are the guys who were here every day to get me through it via moral support, positive support on streams, actual, monetary support. From time to time, you guys have been absolutely outstanding and amazing, and I thank you so much for it, okay? Basketball America tipped me $1. And I said I look like Kodak Black. I don't even know who the hell that is either, but thank you for the dollar tip. I don't know what people are talking about here. Oops. Captain K-Man Chitty says, are you going to do a review the Xbox Series X video of games? No, because there's nothing to review. It was just trailers. Paradox at 130 video series. How long have you had the hat for? Since I visited Tennessee, I believe the year was 2011. I could be wrong. I visited Tennessee to enter a tournament. Nashville, Tennessee, to enter a tournament to qualify to go to Super Battle Opera and play Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo in Japan and represent America. But John Rambo beat me, so he went to Japan instead of me, and I bought this hat while I was in Tennessee. And Play2 Tony is subscribed for 7 months. Thank you, Play2 Tony, for the resub. All right, continuing on here. Let's see here. Kill Bill 216. Ask the next question. Streaming 6 days a week, twice a day, can be very taxing on the body. I know most people think you just play video games for a living. They don't seem to understand that everything you do, both on scene and behind the scenes, can be physically and mentally draining. Do you think people will ever understand the side of a streamer, or will they only see it as a person who just plays fun games for a living? I kind of see it like sports athletes, because they play a fun sport for a living and they make money. Most people don't want to hear them complain about their tough job because of this. Anyone who played sports will be able to tell you how physically and mentally tough you have to be. For me, it's a mixed bag. I absolutely love what I do for a living. I love gaming. It was my hobby before I did this for a living. I didn't intend to do this for a living. I fell into it completely inadvertently, okay? So it's kind of a weird story when you really think about it. But that being said, there are definitely stressful things about it. Not that I want to go massive detail about it, but, it's different being self-employed versus having to get up for a 9-to-5 job. Separation of work and personal life is very tough when you work as much as I do. Like I'm here on stream 6 days a week full time. So I only get 1 day away from my work a week. That's rough, to maintain a family. I have a wife, to not be able to spend a lot of time with my family because I'm working so much. And a lot of people think that I'm overworked. Why don't I take a day off? I can't take more time off. I have to be here to make money, to pay my bills, to pay my taxes, to pay everything that I've had so much trouble with for the past many years. And now now would be the wrong time for me to try to take more time off when I have to try to now have an opportunity to get back on my feet financially and pay off all the back stuff that I owe and everything. Now is my chance to do that. So taking even more time off for personal time and stuff would be really rough. Now listen, I'm not some kind of an idiot. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, oh my God, my job is so physically draining every day. It's not. It's the opposite of that. I sit here on the couch playing games and interacting with you guys on a daily basis, or, talking with you on a stream, whether on a pre-stream or Ask the King or whatever. This is not a physically demanding job. It is a mentally demanding job, absolutely. I need to be able to play and beat these games. I need to be able to have fun conversations with you guys, be able to hold down the social interaction every single day. So, it is, in that regard, it's way more mental than physical. But, I'm not a presumptuous idiot who would say, oh my God, my job's so hard, guys. It's not. And admittedly, it's a lot harder because I have so many shithead assholes following me around, constantly harassing me, threatening me. And I am where I am right now in my level of popularity because of the level of harassment that I've gotten over the years. If I never had this bandwagon mentality of people, oh, it's fun to make fun of Phil, keep doing it, I probably would be way more popular and I'd be in a bigger position. Not to say that I would be a top guy, but I certainly would probably be at least in a mid-level position of people who are content creators. I wouldn't be bottom of the barrel, But it is what it is. There's things that are good about it. There's things that are bad about it. It's definitely stressful, but I love doing it as well. So that's kind of the trade-off for me, okay? Do you feel... Oh, hold on. Question from Dinkboo asks the following. Do you feel it's time to change the music during your pre-streams and breaks? Sure, the old school remixes are good and all, but it may sound really repetitive to the daily viewers. Would you be open to having remixes of video game songs play on your streams instead of the current playlist? The reason that I use the music that I use is because those are remixes of my voice from my content. Legally, I'm 100% covered. No one could ever say, oh my God, Phil, that wasn't your content. Like, well, it is, because it's my voice, it's my gameplay that you used to make a remix without my permission. I don't mind, but at the same time, you know, that's me. You can't give me a strike against my account for using my own content, right? I know there's tons of like royalty free music and stuff out there that maybe I could use. If I ever had 100%, you know, people coming against me and saying, Phil, we're just tired of the pre-stream music, stop it, I would. But I have added a lot of new stuff. Just in the last 6 months, I added these little mini remixes, and then I also added a bunch of longer length remixes that were ones that were kind of like, I would almost call them hidden gems, things from over the years that were there that I never even realized were there, and now I was able to actually like put them together into this music that I play. So I definitely feel that like there's been more variety. It's not just the same songs over and over. There's a lot more that's been added. But that's why I don't play music that's not me, you know, because I have so many issues with people harassing me and reporting me for shit that's not true. You know, if I went and used someone else's music on my pre-stream, you'd have assholes all over it, you know, reporting that, oh, he's not using it, that's not his property, and blah, blah, blah. It would just cause problems. But if ever someone suggested, oh, man, you know, here's some suggested music that you can use that we know is royalty-free and it's okay to use, I would consider doing it, okay? Some more shout-outs. Dallas88 wants me to unban them. And then he says, for 100 streak, rock the stash. The stash that I already have. What? First of all, Dallas, that's not how you get unbanned. You either have to contact the moderator behind the scenes, or you can email me at darksidephil@hotmail.com and give me your information, and I'll review it. All right? I'm not going to just on the fly unban someone because they tipped me during a stream, okay? But I don't know what you mean about rocking the stash for the 100 vest streak. I'm wearing the stash now. I don't get that. Tongue Lad tipped me $3.86. As much love to you. Thank you, Tongue Lad. I appreciate that. That gets us up to $20 in tips so far today. Oops. Wow. What happened there? $20 in tips, I said. Culasso Grande tipped me $6. And basically says there's some news story about white men shooting a black jogger. It's all over the news. Have I heard about it? I have not. And as you guys know, I'm not a political guy. I try not to make my content political. And so, you know, I don't think it's my place to comment on it. I know nothing about the story, so I'm staying away from that one as far as possible because I don't know what the situation is. Sanda's Phil tipped me $1 and says small shoulders are a sign of a weak man. Alrighty then. I don't know if you're saying I have small shoulders or broad shoulders or whatever, but I appreciate the tip regardless. So thank you for that. Oops, what is going on? I just can't update this goal properly today for some reason. Egg Gangster did a 50-bit cheer. He says, I hear you talking about working a lot. How do you find time to work in between all your streams? I don't know what you're talking about, Egg Gangster. Basketball American tipped me $1. Says, I'm glad to see you back on your own 2 feet. Don't let absent-minded detractors take away your shine. Big ups. All right, thank you for the tip. So up to $28 in tips so far today. Thank you, guys. All right. Moving on even further here. Up next, Baldy asks a question. He says, back in the day when you were a professional Street Fighter player, do you ever think back and feel like it went by like a movie? Do you have any regrets from that time period? I've already talked about many of those regrets. All right, I've already talked about things that I've done that I think were really stupid. And the thing is that I feel that even though at the time I feel that I met a lot of people that I never would have met. By the way, if you notice I'm touching my ears, it's because of my fucking ear infections, and I apologize for that, guys. It's bothering me. Now that I'm talking a lot on camera, it's, you know, my ear infection is bothering me, and I apologize. I'm touching my ears so much. I met a lot of people during my competitive Street Fighter days that I never would have met. I traveled to a lot of places I never would have traveled, you know. Just off the top of my head, states that I've been to in the United States just because of Street Fighter. Maryland, Virginia, Florida, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York. Oh, shit. What's that little state? Not New Hampshire. oh God, I can't remember the name of that tiny state. Oh, Rhode Island. Rhode Island. Chicago, Illinois, and surrounding areas. I already said Texas. Texas, I went to multiple times. California, and and Nevada, of course, Las Vegas. I went to all those places just because of Street Fighter. I met people from all over the world, including not only all those places I just mentioned, but Canada, Japan, Europe, all these people. And we had fun. We had interaction. We had, not only playing Street Fighter, but just meeting each other and sharing each other's information about culture and just having fun. And that was a chapter of my life that I will always look back on and say, there's some really good times that I had there, But at the same time, I also look back at that and I say, damn, that was a big chunk of my life, from the years of I was maybe 18 to 20 years old, all the way until I started on YouTube, that was a giant chunk of my life, 7-8 years, where all of my efforts and focus were put towards competitive Street Fighter. Tons of money, thousands upon thousands of dollars, traveling and paying for hotel rooms, flight tickets, and money to enter these tournaments, and of course food. For what? If you really look at it at the end of the day, after all that time ended, did I really have anything to speak of? Sure, I had won some tournaments, but people always talk shit about those are illegitimate wins. By the time that really it became something that you could make a living doing, like Street Fighter 4, I was out of it. I wasn't really into it anymore. And because of my back injury, which now is mostly gone, which is amazing, but back then I couldn't even travel to do stuff. And I remember the last tournament I attended, okay? I was having so many back problems at the time, and this was about 9 years ago. I tweaked a disc or a nerve in my neck, and I had numbness and shooting pain from my neck into my shoulder, down the front of my arm, into my thumb, and I couldn't feel my thumb for 3 months. And I went to this tournament, and I couldn't even play. I went to this tournament and spent all this money, and I couldn't play the games. So I sat in my hotel room, and I played Dragon Age instead, because I couldn't play the games because I couldn't feel my thumb. And that's not good. That's terrible. And that's what I mean. All that invested, and what did I really get out of it? So maybe if I had become a professional Street Fighter player around the time of Street Fighter 4, and I got sponsorships, and I made a living doing it, that would have been one thing. But I did it during this time when it was very grassroots, during a time when, it was, you were doing it for the love of it. You were doing it for the love of the games and the love of competitive Street Fighter and to keep the community alive. That really, there was no support from Capcom at that time. They weren't making any new games or whatever. From the year 2000 to 2008 or 9, Capcom was not making any new fighting games anymore. So, in reality, it was more if you want to keep this alive, it's great personal sacrifice and great personal struggle, which it was for me. And so I look back at those times as a time of great happiness where I met so many people and I had so much fun. I traveled and went to all these places I never would have went. And at the same time, I kind of look back, I'm like, man, that was a major part of my life when I was younger. I had energy. That was before my back injury. That was the time when maybe I could have been building myself up a career to work in, and instead I was more focused on Street Fighter than worrying about my job. So it's kind of like a mixed bag for me. There's stuff that I regret, but there's also stuff that I definitely enjoyed about the time. As is most things with life, I don't think there's many people in life who could look back and say, wow, everything went perfectly according to plan, everything was great, and I'm so happy that things worked out that way perfectly, right? That's really not been my experience, at least. There's always good that you take with the bad. So that's kind of my feelings about my era of my life that I was a pro Street Fighter player. Okay? Hans Salah asks the following. How do you think the Nioh series compares to the Soulsborne series? If you had to rank them, what goes top to bottom on your list? Okay. I would say, overall, the best game of that is still Dark Souls 1. I still think Dark Souls 1 is way up here because it was the game. Even though Demon Souls came before it, Dark Souls 1 has the best world design in that there's fire pits, but cool mystical forests, crystal caverns, giant libraries. It's still one of the bigger Dark Souls games. I still like some of the boss designs in that game too. And in reality, you can go back and you can replay Dark Souls 1 so many different ways. You could do a hybrid class, a pure melee, a magic class. You can nerf yourself. To this day, there are people who are still playing Dark Souls 1 in new ways. So I think Dark Souls 1 is still the top of the ladder for me when it comes to that style of game. All right. Nioh and Nioh 2 are great games for the gameplay, meaning the combat. I actually feel that the combat of Nioh and Nioh 2 is exceptionally good because those games, unlike the From Software games, okay, or the Soulsborne games, you do something in Nioh, you immediately get that happening on your television. Whether it's you're dodging, you're parrying, you're, whatever you're doing, immediate response. In the Soulsborne games, there's this natural wind up and move, and it's just kind of sluggish. And they did it on purpose. But in Nioh, boom, you get your reaction immediately for whatever you're doing. But the Nioh games, number one, reuse assets way too much. There's not enough enemy variety in the Nioh games, and they reuse a lot of maps, and they reuse a lot of enemies over and over and over, and to the point of ad nauseum, it's kind of the same shit over and over. And I feel that Nioh has certain stages and certain things set up to frustrate the player artificially. Like, for example, I feel that Nioh 2 has side quests that are purposely set up to be unfair to pile on the frustration on the player. Now, some people will be like, well, when I finally persevere, I feel good. But when I play Dark Souls or, any Soulsborne game, I don't feel it's like that. Like, is there a challenge? Yes. Is there unfair parts of the game? Sure. But is there ever a part of the game that's just so insane? Oh my God. Why is there so much insanity in this little narrow area? I don't ever really feel that way about Soulsborne games. I'll rage, all right? And I'll get angry. Like, remember when I played Sekiro and I beat the Guardian Ape and then I had to fight two of them at once? Holy shit. Like, you're really pounding my nuts on this one. But it's kind of fair the way they set the stuff up. Oh, the Guardian Apes aren't two high-level Guardian Apes. One of them's kind of weak, and you can persevere and you can win. You see what I'm saying? So for me, like, I think From Software games are more fair, while the Nioh games are purposely set up to be unfair, but then they gave you more responsive controls to kind of balance that out. I still think the From Software games are better. I'll be honest. I do. I feel the From Software games are better overall, with better world design, better boss design. Not to say that the Nioh games don't have that, but I do feel that Nioh is kind of repetitive with a lot of the world design and stuff like that, being very Asian culture oriented and everything, while the From Software games can be more varied and stuff. Now, if you're asking my personal rankings of all the games, I would probably say first, it's Dark Souls, number one. Number two would probably be Bloodborne. And then number three, maybe Dark Souls 3. And then maybe number 4 would be like Nioh 1. And I'll be honest, like Dark Souls 2, and Sekiro, and Nioh 2, and Demon Souls are all good games in their own right, but I don't think they're as good as the other games that I mentioned. That's my personal opinion. You can completely disagree with me. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. An anonymous dollar tipper is asking me if I like would I play Young Thug or Lil Uzi on my pre-stream? No, I would never do that. Not only do I not know what their music is, but I would get into massive trouble, I'm sure. So that's not going to happen. But thank you for the dollar tip regardless. Culasso Grande tipped me $10 and said, focused on myself. Well, Culasso, first of all, I got to figure out what Culasso means. Watch it mean like giant heaving like dick or something. Let's find out. Huge ass. I guess that's not that bad. Huge ass is better than like giant schlong, I guess. So, Culasso Grande is the top tipper of today with the $10 tip. And he said, focused on myself. I don't know what that means, but thank you for that. Let's see here. Basketball American tipped me $1. I said, and then he's talking about, oh my God, you're disgusting. You're a disgusting fool. And I'm not going to address that, but thanks for the dollar tip. What a disgusting freak. Darkside Chris, what's going on, sir? He tipped me $20. He says, hey, dude, sorry I haven't been around a lot. Golf courses have finally reopened after a month. So I've been doing that. Good to see you. So finally you're working again. That's awesome. Because, at the very beginning of this pandemic, I heard from a lot of my viewers saying, man, we've been out of work and things have been rough. And it sounds like Darkside Chris is back to work. So thank you very much, Darkside Chris, for the $20 tip. That is super generous of you. And you would have been the top tipper, except Culasso Grande then tipped $30 and said, focused on myself. So Culasso Grande is currently the top tipper of the stream. And we are up to $90 in tips already, and we're still in part one of Ask the King. Wow. Thank you guys for the support. Honest Fan did a 555-bit cheer. He said, glad to hear you feeling better. Ever gag on stream like from allergies? Gag? No, I don't think so. Have I ever just felt like really like bad? Yeah, a few years ago. I actually didn't feel well, and I thought I was going to pass out a few times on stream. And I didn't know what was going on with me. I actually believe it was I had a really high blood pressure because of stress and shit going on in my life. And in reality, when that started to happen to me, and I was like, damn, I'm just sitting here playing games and I feel like I'm going to pass out. There's a big problem here. And so I started changing my eating habits and I started changing my sleeping habits to try to be more in line with like normal life. And I actually felt better since then. So, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I actually think this is a good opportunity for us to take a break. Let's take our first break of Ask the King. This will be a short break, maybe 10, 15 minutes tops. So if you're watching live on stream, just hang out. I'll be back in a few minutes. If you're watching on YouTube, on demand, obviously this part will end and there'll be a part 2 and probably a part 3 coming up in addition on YouTube. So let's take a short break and then I'll be back with part 2 of Ask the King in just a moment. Thank you everyone for your support so far and I'll see you in just a bit. Thanks.